Life isn't perfect, and neither are we.
Nope. But we know how to face our fears
And have some fun.
and talk about all the messiest things of life.
Like the messiest things.
Get connected to yourself, get connected to others, and get connected to the life right in front of you.
This is The Connected Life with Justin and Abby.
That's me.
That's you.
And you.
Do you think that talking about shame causes more shame for you?
I don't think so.
Do you feel shame
Wait,
right
have
now?
we started the podcast? I thought you said before. You little liar. You said before we get started. I was like, this doesn't even make sense in any context for us in this current moment. Yeah. I don't think it causes shame.
I don't know. What do you feel right now?
Excited to talk about this subject with you.
Well, you know what? I do like talking about this subject. Shame. We're talking about shame, and probably people don't want to hear that we're talking about shame. They're probably like, oh, well, I'll skip that podcast.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, but it is.
We're not actually talking about shame. We're talking about shame resilience.
Yeah, we are.
We are sharing our personal stories of how we overcame shame in our relationship so that we could see each other and hear each other and love each other and take care of each other better. And I think that is the whole goal.
Yeah.
Is how to do relationships well. And so many people have a partner that is like,
Was that dead silence? Is that what that was supposed to be?
oh, my brain just stopped. Big lead up.
So many people have a partner that crashed and burned.
No. I was just thinking about, I felt this for years. I felt like you don't see the pain that you're causing me. You're denying that you're causing me pain. You are continuing to do the thing that is causing me pain. You're defensive. Like, I see that there's a very real problem in how you're treating me. You don't see that problem. And not only do you not see the problem, you are blaming me. You're defending your behavior. You're protecting what's happening. So it actually feels like I'm fighting you. When really what I want is for us to be able to treat each other well. But for a long time, it felt like you were being obstinate or stubborn in the relationship.
So is this you taking a moment to call me out publicly? Is that what this is?
No. But I just wanted to talk about the pain point of what it's like to have a partner. It feels like, I remember feeling like I'm on this growth journey and I want to heal, and it feels like you're resisting me and you're resisting acknowledging the problems that we have and figuring out solutions to it. And that was not really the truth. You weren't purposefully resisting me. Yeah. And I think you probably felt my shame affected our relationship dramatically too.
Is this you tossing it back to me?
Yes.
Do you want to tell on me?
Yes.
I felt like it was impossible to get you to see behavior that you were doing that was impacting me.
Yeah.
And that felt infuriating to me. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was met with a lot of denial. Mm-hmm. And so as I'm talking about this, there's a lot of echo. There's like an echo, right? Like I felt like I was met with a lot of denial. And
I would lawyer the shit out of you if you were bringing up how I was impacting you.
And I was thinking about saying that, but saying it to your face, thanks for delivering that. But yeah, you would lawyer the shit out of me.
I would talk you out of why it didn't make sense, why it wasn't logical, why it was logical that it was your issue and not mine. Like all of that.
I think I'm going to cry. Why do I feel so validated right now? But there was ongoing wars that perpetuated disconnection between the two of us, where we were avoiding and denying each other's experiences, and even like you said, even lawyering each other. I think you've lawyered me more than I've lawyered you. I think. Maybe my lawyering we do it different. That's the way to put it.
I present a case that's like 10 minutes long and very ranty, but you still point back and jab back and do your own.
Different.
Like it's
but,
you, yeah.
But this is something common in human
I said
relationships.
it present tense. I'm actually trying to lawyer much less. And I think I lawyer much less.
You
now.
do. You've gotten a lot better at not lawyering me.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that.
Well, I wanted to clarify so people didn't think I was
that you've reached a pinnacle?
Continue.
No, you're still a total pain in the ass. But here's the deal. So you and I both equally harmed each other.
Yes.
And it's not because we were actually trying to harm each other. It wasn't because we were trying to violate each other. It was because there was something deep inside of both of us that said, I feel such a horrible feeling inside of my body. I feel like you're telling me that I'm the worst person on the face of the planet.
That I'm bad, that I'm unlovable.
That I'm a failure if I admit to this. And so there was a deep defensiveness happening at the core of each of us that actually kept perpetuating separation. And that's what shame does inside of any relationship structure, whether it's romantic or it's friendships.
Or parent kids.
It creates big divides between people because we don't have shame resilience. And oftentimes we don't even know what the word shame means. We don't know what it feels like. We oftentimes are just saying things like, no, I don't have any problems with this. I just want truth on the table.
100%. And I did a lot of things like that. No, I don't have shame about this. You're just wrong.
And I'm going to tell you why you're wrong.
I'm going to give you 5 reasons that are bulletproof.
And it's funny because if people don't have shame, they don't have to prove themselves and they don't have to explain themselves. Really, at the end of the day, you're like, all right, we disagree. You don't see what I have to say. I'm cool with me.
Yeah.
You can decide if you in your head think that I'm a horrible villain. That's cool. Believe it.
Because you don't.
Right. If I have shame resilience and I don't believe that I'm a bad person at the core of me and I've resolved my identity issues, I'm actually like, you can play mental gymnastics in your head all day long with what you believe about me.
Yeah. Well, and also when you have shame resilience, like if you don't believe you're bad, then you also are comfortable admitting flaws and failures and shortcomings.
Right.
So basically what this podcast is going to be is our story, because I get so many people writing in about their partners and the pain that they have because their partner won't go to counseling, their partner won't look at themselves, their partner won't go on the emotional health journey, their partner won't, blah, blah, blah. How do I help them? How did you guys overcome it? That's the question I hear all the time. And so I was like, let's do an episode where we talk about, because shame is normal. It's a human experience. Most humans have shame driving a good part of their life. I know I still do. And I know a lot about shame and I've overcome a lot of shame. But there's still pockets where it really is difficult for me to hold or feel. And so
I want to add something really fun. Quick. But go ahead. And so
we wanted to share our story of some of the main things that helped us overcome our roadblocks towards wanting to work things out. I'm thinking about a friend of mine, and whenever he brings up, hey, I think that we have these issues in our marriage and I'd like to get help, his wife is like, absolutely not. We're fine. Our marriage is fine. What do you mean our marriage has a problem? Our marriage is better than anybody else's marriage. Like our marriage is better than my parents' marriage was. This is not even a problem. This isn't an issue. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You keep bringing up stuff, but there's no reason to keep bringing it up because we've already dealt with it. It's in the past. I don't even care. I've forgotten about it. Like all of those behaviors really are shame responses.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because we want to avoid, when we think about shame, we want to avoid believing that we are bad and therefore could be unlovable at all costs. Every human wants to avoid that because we are driven by a need to survive. To survive, we need to belong. We need to feel connection. And so we want to avoid anything that could make us feel like we are going to be disconnected.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. Going back to before we get too far down the road, I want to talk about what shame feels like or identify it. Because a lot of people, when people would come into my office, we'd start having conversations about their lives. And I would say like, oh, so you have a lot of shame in this area. And they'd be like, no. And I was like, yeah, you just spent 45 minutes describing shame.
Totally.
And one of the things that I started to realize is people do not know what shame is. Like they have some concept about it, but they don't know what it feels like inside of them. Like I would tell someone like, oh, so you felt really shameful in that scenario? No, I just felt embarrassed. I was like, oh, actually embarrassment is a way
Could be a word for shame.
Is a word for shame. That is the feeling of shame inside of me as I feel this embarrassment. I feel like someone sees something or other people see things about me and probably think poorly of me and that there's something wrong with me inside of it. So I know that a feeling of embarrassment is a huge thing and that's a sign that shame's there. Another sign of shame is a sense of denial.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I see this in parent-kid relationships all the time where like adult kids and their parents, where adult kids will say, hey, this thing that happened in my childhood really hurt me. And their parents will say, that never happened. Absolutely not. I would never do that. I could never have said that. And oftentimes, especially in immediate denial like that, we know there's shame. Because if there's not shame, you could be like, I don't remember that. Let's talk about that more and see if something comes to memory. Or let's see if there's, maybe you're saying it in slightly different words than how I would have remembered it. But the openness to even dialoguing about something is a sign that you don't have shame.
Yeah. And so oftentimes, like, I think we're not even aware of how often we're denying situations. We're just saying, I'm just trying to prove my point, right? So the lawyering situation, like the lawyering that you went into was a denying of my experience or portions of reality, right? And so that in of itself was saying like, hey, Abby here, I have shame in this area and I don't want to have to face the shame that I potentially am feeling. Even if I was completely wrong, your inability, say, in your lawyering to just hear what I have to say is saying that there's shame that needs to be dealt with.
Yes. Yeah. When I think of shame, I think of a feeling. There's several feelings. I want to crawl out of my skin is one feeling, or I'm feeling judged is another way that like typically leads to shame for me.
Yeah.
You can feel judged without having shame, but I'm just saying most often my knee-jerk reaction to feeling judged is shame, or feeling misunderstood is shame. The feeling of like, are you saying that I'm bad? Or it sounds like you're saying I'm bad, or I did bad, therefore I am bad.
Yeah.
A lot of it to me goes back to, and I'd say like a difference in shame responses versus non-shame response would be like, you might say, Abby, when you said that, it hurt my feelings. Well, a non-shameful thing would be like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but that makes sense. And I'm so sorry you felt that way. A shame response would be like, he's saying that I said this wrong, which means that I did wrong, which could mean that I'm bad to him. And most of the time we're not logically thinking through all those steps.
Yeah.
But our subconscious is. And so then we react back with you're wrong so that I don't have to feel wrong. And blame is one of the fastest ways I know that I'm feeling shame. Because sometimes I don't catch that I feel shame.
It's that argument that explodes.
Well, if I want to say this is your fault, not my fault.
I didn't do this. This is on you. This is because you did ...
I know then, oh, I must have been feeling shame. Because I think of shame, a great way to think of it is a hot potato. So I often don't notice that I feel shame because it can happen really fast in conflict. But let's say you say something that makes me feel like I failed or like I'm not doing good enough or like there could be a flaw that you're pointing out in me, any of those things. It's like you threw a hot potato on me. Now, if I don't have shame, I can hold the hot potato and I can examine it with you and I can understand what you mean by it and I can ask more questions and be curious. But when I have shame, I need to throw the potato back at you so that it doesn't burn me. Yeah. So I'm like, no, well, you said this first. Well, you did this first. Well, you started this. And that flipping, like needing to push it back on the other person often means that there's shame in there.
Yeah. Another way that you identify shame, like I noticed when we would revisit past moments in clients' lives, they would often say like, "Ugh, it's just so cringeworthy when I think about that moment." I said, "So you cringe? You like tell me."
Oh, I know that feeling
What does
deep in my
cringe feel like?
body.
Or like I just feel like this sickness in the pit of my stomach when I think about it. I want to get away from the memory as fast as possible. And that is where a pocket of shame exists. That sense of I am cringing inside of me, that feeling is shame. And there's a judgment that is attached to that shame. Like I have judged something about that scenario as I was stupid or crazy or an idiot or whatever it is, that identity statement that I placed on that. And it feels there's so much embarrassment. There's so much intense judgment that you hold inside of yourself that you don't want to go towards that. That is a pocket of shame.
Yeah, I think of shame like instead of I did a behavior that was hurtful, it is now an identity statement. I am bad.
Right.
Instead of I did something that wasn't helpful, it's now I am bad for doing that.
It's like the difference between saying, "Oh man, I really screwed that up," and "Oh man, I am a screw up."
Yeah, totally.
Right. And so,
"Oh man, I really failed at loving you well there," and "Oh man, I am a failure."
Yeah. And so without shame resilience, without taking the identity statement off of it, we can't visit past memories like easily. That's like a really difficult thing to do. And so not only can we not visit them on our own with ourselves, but we can't visit them with people. So if we've especially created pain inside of scenarios with people and they come to us saying like, "Hey, in order for us to be better, we need to have an honest conversation about this event." If I have too much shame inside of that event,
we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're not going back to that. The past is the past.
Yeah. I don't understand why you can't get over it.
I don't understand why you're still bringing it up.
Yeah. I already said sorry once for this.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's very clear that we've eliminated shame in an area when we can revisit it over and over again.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel exhaustive. We're like, all right, yeah, totally. Let's dialogue about that. What
100%.
more do you need to explore inside of that? If you don't...
Where else do you need to be seen?
If you don't believe internally that you're a bad guy over this,
yes,
in who you are, then you're like, yeah, I did participate in that. You know, somebody who's a great example is Paul Young, who we've had on the podcast. And, you know, he talks about his 3-month affair that he had with his wife's best friend and how that sparked an 11-year mess of him trying to heal his own heart. And then the repair journey is something that he's submitted to where he's like, man, I'm open to that. Like, my kids have, forgiven me, but that other family, that's not so much. Like, there's a lot of them that haven't forgiven me inside of that, and they may never, and that's okay. And whenever they need to visit it, I'm happy to participate in that process. And that's a sign that Paul has conquered
shame resilience.
Shame.
I wouldn't say conquered because I think that means it's all gone.
Well,
but the idea of like overcoming it where it's not driving you.
Correct. He's had enough of an encounter with radical love, both towards himself and in an encounter with God, that he's like, oh, I can go there. It might not be fun.
No.
I might, and like you said, the pieces of shame that are there, like you may have to feel it, but their love is so much greater that exists within him than the shame is. And that's part of the shame resilience process is does some sense of love become bigger within us, the knowledge of it and the relationship with it, then we have a relationship and knowledge of shame.
Yeah. I was thinking about, and we're about to jump into how we overcame shame, but one other story that was popping in my mind of an example of what shame sounds like in relationships. I have a relationship that I had for years. And when I started just saying like, oh, hey, that hurt my feelings, they would, years ago, this is how they would respond. They no longer like this, but they used to respond this way. Oh, poor you. You have such a hard life because I'm such a horrible friend to you. It must be so hard to be you. Oh, I'm so sorry. What a rough life you have because I'm the worst. I'm just so bad, aren't I? And I was thinking about how that's another way that shame shows up is people. So that's like sarcastic, but another way shame shows up would be like my mom. I would confront her and I'd say like, hey, this really hurt my feelings. My mom would start sobbing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
where now we're not even talking anymore about my feelings. She's not hearing me or seeing me. She's feeling so much shame and so much self-hatred. She's decided that hurting my feelings means she's the worst mom ever, even though that's not what I was saying. Then now that has become a full meltdown. And so now I can't be heard. I can't share what I'm saying. And that's what happens so much is shame blocks our ability to hear the people around us and to actually love the people around us and to listen to the people around us. Shame blocks our ability to hear and see those that we love.
Yeah, it's interesting how there's like the pendulum of extreme defensiveness and denial to, yep, I did it. I'm the worst person on the face of the planet, and I'm just going to have a meltdown, and I'm going to sob cry, and then it becomes about them anyways, like you said. Like, so you have this like relationships, someone who actually wants repair doesn't have an ability oftentimes to get to the repair if someone else in the relationship has a shame, because you either have this pushback that says no, or this all-encompassing, I'm a horrible human being, and now you're forced to take care of them. And again, you're not actually seen inside of it, and it doesn't get resolved. Yeah. I had somebody one time, they had done something pretty grievous. And I said, look, in order
grievous.
Yeah.
What a good word.
Yeah. And I had said, in order for us to continue a relationship, I'm going to need you to take ownership and figure out how you got here.
Yeah.
Like, ownership to me was like, you got to go to a counselor. And I said that. I was like, I need you to go talk to a counselor, because this is, I mean, if we're going to do this, like, this is a huge violation of what happened. And at one point, you know, as we were processing things out, because I was like, I just need to hear what you're learning from the counselor so I can know that there's some sort of safety as you're understanding and getting some repair inside of this.
What you're saying is you wanted them to understand why they did what they did, so that they could figure out what they needed in order to not continually violate you anymore.
Yeah, because this behavior didn't just violate me, it violated
a lot of people.
A lot of people. And at one point, I'm having an exchange with them, and I hadn't heard anything about the counselor. It was just dead silent. They like went into avoidance towards me. They didn't want to talk to me. Yeah. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Are you even doing anything here to clean this up? And I brought up again the whole idea of like, look, there has to be some sort of ownership. And they said, I'm taking all the ownership I know how to take. I hate myself as much as possible for what I've done. I don't know what else you want from me.
Such a good example.
And I sat there and I was like, this person is all consumed with shame.
Yes.
And to that point, self-hatred is a surefire sign that you have shame in an area of your life. And it's going to perpetuate the divide like that. Like him being like, I just hate myself this much didn't draw us closer.
No. And it didn't help you feel safer with it.
And I said, I never told you needed to hate yourself. In fact, I've told you, I don't need you to hate yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to love yourself so much that it actually repairs the way that you're showing up to life.
100%.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example, which is there was an inability to even have dialogue about what happened.
Yeah.
Because there was so much shame. And that's shame disconnects us. And so in our marriage, it created a lot of divides. Both of us felt really unheard. We felt really unseen. We felt like we were battling our partner. And so the shame resiliency journey for us has transformed so much. It's made us able, like I said, able to listen, able to not react, able to actually see the other person instead of making every situation about us.
Yeah.
Because shame can make a lot of things about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long road of building shame resilience. And again, like, neither of us have arrived at not having shame. But what we have arrived at is being able to identify it. We know when we're feeling it. We're able to say, hey, this is what's going on inside of me. Yeah. And we're able to own it.
Yeah.
And have, open dialogues about it. For me, one of the things in my process was I needed to be able to see the common humanity. Like, I believed that I was the only one battling this monster
Yes.
inside.
And shame says that. Shame says you are the only person that struggles with this. You are the only person who hasn't figured this out. You are the only person that feels alone like this.
Yep. And it says it not only about itself, but about so many other things. Like whatever destructive, messy, difficult issue that you have inside of your life, shame is going to try and isolate you and say you're the only one that has this. And especially wants to reinforce that you're the only one with this level of shame monster.
Yes, 100%.
And because like shame ultimately, like if I were to personify shame, shame wants to continue to own your life.
Yeah.
So it does not want you to take back your life from it.
Yeah.
And so one thing was, especially as I talked to a lot of people, this was even before my office, I would have conversations with people where they would get vulnerable and I'd be like, oh, you deal with the same thing I do. It just looks a little different. There's a little bit different language around how it comes out. And then a light bulb started going on for me and I'm like, everybody universally has a shame monster because we have relationship with judgment. And wherever judgment exists, shame will always exist somewhere within judgment. And so I was like, holy crap, it's all of us. It's all of us. And no one's talking about it. And obviously Brene Brown comes out and just like,
Which is awesome.
Throws a grenade and says, guess what, guys? Shame exists. And we have shame. But my ability to actually accept we're all dealing with this and I'm not unique inside of this settled something inside of me to be able to be like, okay, there's shame here. That means I can admit to it because I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And that I think is the greatest pain point for most people in any difficult area that they're at. They're like, I can't admit to this. Because if I do, people think I'm bad, I'm crazy, I'm weird.
Oh, totally.
But it's interesting because when I saw people, myself included, publicly say, hey, I shit the bed here and I have problems in these areas, you watch people find themselves with a massive sense of relief hit them.
Like, ugh. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm safe here. Someone else is going through this. I'm not the only one. I bet I can talk about it. I know that I've done big men's groups and you'll have one guy open up about some crazy shit. And everybody was just sitting there, arms crossed, like, I'm good. I don't got problems. And then some guy says something wild. I was helping with Wild Courage, my buddy's men's thing. And just, you have these guys, I have crossed arms, man, I don't got any problems. And one guy gets up and he's like, man, my life is fucked. Let me tell you about it. And he just starts going off about his divorce and all kinds of stuff and how he's just miserable and lost in porn. And all of a sudden, guys are like, I have problems too. But the facade, there was no longer a need for a facade the minute there was a reality check that there are other people all commonly battling.
Yeah. And I think this concept, I mean, my counselor talked to me about this for years ago, and it actually really did change my whole life. Just the concept of most struggles we have are all human struggles. Like they might look different on the outside, but the roots of it is the same. Like insecurity with one person might look like they're a high performer at their job. With another person might look like they don't have the confidence to go for the job they want, but both of them feel insecure. Or every single person experiences heartbreak or rejection or being made fun of as a kid, or, you know, like there's just common experiences as humans, and then we have common reactions. So defensiveness is a human reaction. And so I started recognizing, I'd look for the things I had shame in, and then I'd start looking in the world for other places I saw that other people struggled with it, whether it was in other friendships. So like maybe I was like, oh, I'm really bad at conflict. I have shame about that. So shame will tell you you're the only one. You missed out. Everyone else learned in childhood how to do conflict, but you are so far behind. There's something broken about the way you think. There's something broken about how you work. Like you're just missing that thing that should know how to handle this. So shame has a lot of shoulds and a lot of like you're nots. And I had to look at instead, okay, who else is actually struggling with this? Who else struggles with conflict? Who else? Oh, actually, tons of marriages end in divorce. They're struggling with conflict. Oh, actually, tons of parents and children have estrangement. Oh, they're struggling with conflict. Oh, actually, and so you start to see there are patterns all around the world of people that are having the same issue as you. And that starts to feel so relieving because, again, all of us is built towards wanting that belonging. And so I used to feel like I'll belong by being so good. And now I'm like, I belong because I experience the human emotions. Like, oh, I'm bad at conflict. Well, I just named a ton of groups that I would belong in. I would belong in divorce groups. I would belong in estrangement groups. I would belong in any country that's tried to go into war groups. I would belong in, like, there's all these people that I'm like, I would actually fit in with these people because lots of people have experiences similar to me. And, like that they needed help in conflict too, or they needed to learn more. And so it starts to be like, not only that I used extreme, but I'm like, oh, now that I know it, most of my friends are scared of conflict. Like then you start looking for it and you're like, oh, all of my friends are scared of conflict.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody I know actually feels confident in that area. Hardly anybody I know was taught good conflict skills in their childhood. Then you start being like, oh, that pastor avoids conflict. Oh, that family avoids conflict. Oh, and you just start to see it everywhere. And so then you're like, I actually belong because I have a core human struggle the same as other people, not that I don't belong because I have a struggle.
Yeah, I think that for me, that's part of why, this podcast in general is about talking about all the messy things in life. And to me, that's my heart and hope has been to build shame resilience, is to be like, look, Abby and
we're making messes.
We're so messed up.
And we try to tell on ourselves a lot. So you can be like, oh, that is a human way to handle things.
Yep. And so that as I understand the reality that you're talking about, I suddenly begin to adopt a sense of grace. Right? Because it's such high stakes when you're the only one. But when you realize we're all just barely limping along in life, you're like, there's so much grace for all of us. Nobody has this thing perfect.
Yeah, especially now that you have social media, you can find your people everywhere. It's like, oh, I'm the only person that gets stressed out over sending emails. And then you see like 5 memes about people who are stressed over sending emails. And you're like, I'm not the only one. And so just if you start to look for how there are more people like you. And that doesn't mean that the behavior is okay. Like, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of people that might identify with me like conflict feels hard. That doesn't mean that gives me the excuse to not grow that skill.
Well, yeah.
But it does mean that I can now feel like that doesn't threaten my belonging.
Yeah. Well, talking about that, once we're able to identify that, it should actually give us the capacity to look honestly at ourselves in a way where I can say, hey, my inability to do conflict skills doesn't mean I'm bad.
Yes.
But I am super fucking destructive in the way that I am relating right now inside of this. Yeah. And I am causing so much pain for my wife inside of this. And I am destroying my children through this behavior because I am blowing up. I am not managing myself. And instead of I'm bad, it's I am making messes. I have to look honestly at the depth of destruction. And I think shame resilience creates this amazing well of ownership that fosters repair. Like there's this like sudden repair that happens as I look at you and say, I have done detrimental things to you, plain and simple. And that actually in shame resilience inside of me,
it liberates you to say it. Yes. And it liberates me.
And it liberates you because you don't have to take care of me now. You not only don't have to fight me on it, but you don't have to take care of the shame that's inside of me. So if I don't have a shame monster running the show, I get to acknowledge it. And then you get to have a full meltdown about feeling your pain. And I can be like, yeah, I have the capacity to sit here with this and acknowledge your feelings are right and justified. What you're going through is totally okay. You cry as much as you want. You get as angry as you want. That is not going to make me defensive over here.
Yeah. Again, that was a lot of work to get to that place, but that is what a healthy, shame-free response can look like. One of the things that you're talking about, it kind of goes with common humanity, but it goes with shame, which is I like to separate out my identity from life skills. So like my identity is, am I good or bad? Do I belong? Am I worthy of love and connection? Skills are, do I know how to reflective listen? Do I know how to communicate my feelings vulnerably? Do I know how to grocery shop? Do I know how to clean the house? Like those are just skills. And when I got married, the two were combined. So if I didn't know how to do a skill well, it also meant I was not worthy of love. It meant I was not worthy of connection, or it showed that I was a failure, or it means that I'm bad. Instead of it being like very separate, I see this all the time in my head. Skills are over here, and these are just things every human needs to learn and be taught, except for the like geniuses who naturally just are geniuses. But those are like the top few percent. Over here is our identity, and if we're lovable or worthy. And I feel like this is not in question when this is in question. But again, most people hook the two. So in a lot of marriages, one of the first things that I do when I'm working with couples is I'm like, oh, you guys just need some more skills. You guys don't have how to regulate skills. You don't have how to create safe connection cues in conflict skills. You don't have listening skills. And most of the time people don't have skills because they weren't taught them. So there's instant compassion for, oh, did you have a mom who modeled reflective listening well to you? And if they don't know how to do it, then 99% of the time it's because they did not have somebody model it to them. And so then I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to feel like you're a piece of shit because you don't know how to reflective listen. You don't have to feel like you're a horrible person and this means you're unlovable and this proves that you'll never be good in relationship and this proves that your wife is going to leave you and this proves that you're going to be like seen as a failure. It's more like, oh no, I just need some skills. Yeah. I need some skills that I've never learned. I'm not bad because I didn't learn them. I now have the opportunity to learn them. And that is most of how I feel about us in marriage is like, yeah, I made so many messes with you. I made so many relationship disruptions. I hurt you in so many ways. And the way that I learned was by learning new skills. Most of our marriage problems got solved with new skills. And it wasn't like my heart got better towards you than it was before. Yeah. It's just that I now had skills to help me communicate in a healthier way.
Yeah. And it's not that you were inherently bad, right? And again, you weren't inherently bad. No. You just didn't know. I just didn't know. And have it modeled. You just didn't have the skills. Mm-hmm. And so when we realize like, oh yeah, I'm ignorant in this area and it's okay to acknowledge that I'm ignorant, then we can actually change the way that we're relating to one another. So for me, the part of me building shame resilience was acknowledging my ignorance. Mm-hmm. So I experienced as a child a lot of pain around the area of being expected to figure something out really quick or already know something that I didn't.
You should know this already.
You should know better. Mm-hmm. That was a phrase that I heard a lot. And I think that's a phrase a lot of kids heard a lot. You should know better. Mm-hmm. No, I shouldn't. Nobody told me.
Totally.
And if you did tell me, it was probably in language that didn't make sense to my little kid brain.
Yes.
So you told me, but I was like, I have no idea what half those words mean. So I just nodded yes and went with it so I didn't get in more trouble. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, good. Thumbs up. Mm-hmm. And so for me, as I was on my journey of life, it was so hard for me to acknowledge that I had ignorance in an area. So this especially showed up in the work area. Uh-huh. So if I was across from someone and they'd be explaining like for instance, my dad would explain electrical things or construction things from guys. They would just be talking about something in construction. And I'm like, probably 75% of what you just said, I didn't know the language of what you were saying. And internally, I'm having a panic attack because not only are they explaining this to me, but they're wanting me to help work on solving a problem. And so I would just nod. Uh-huh. Yep.
Got it.
Then I'd find myself in complete, utter panic trying to solve the problem with information I didn't have.
That also sounds like a lot of our conflicts in the beginning of marriage.
Yeah.
Where I would be like, do you hear what I'm saying? Is this making sense to you? And you'd be like, yep. And then like later you do the exact same thing because you actually didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're just in panic.
yeah, and I felt shame about not knowing how to figure it out on my own, because I believed I should be able to figure it out on my own if I don't have that information. So again, part of building shame resilience, it was me. I took little baby steps where when I'd have interactions around, again, I'm using construction as an example, but where I'd have interactions around construction stuff and somebody would say something, I'd be like, hey, I just want to say I'm totally ignorant of what you're communicating about. Talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old and try and explain this to me so that I can get on the same page with you. And I remember early on when I started doing that, it both felt horrible and relieving all at the same time.
Like there's part of you that's like, oh, this is awful. Cringe.
The cringe was a shame. I felt the shame of having to say I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I felt the relief of being like, there's no expectations on me now. I've told them I'm a dum-dum. And they're about to like break this down like I'm a kid. But honestly, one of the most powerful things about that is that when I admitted ignorance, there was something that softened in most people.
Absolutely.
Because that's very terrifying for most people to say, is that I don't know, I don't have an answer, that doesn't make sense to me. So they're already like, oh my God, that was so brave. Like that might not be their exact words, but they all of a sudden showed up in ways that were like, oh, I'm going to act like a teacher now. Like I'm going to try and help nurture this situation and build clarity around this. And if I didn't get it the first time when if I didn't get it the first time when I admitted to ignorance, early on, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense now.
And you just pretend. 100%.
I'm going back to pretending.
Got it. Thank you.
And then I was like, and I could feel the anxiety of I don't want to be a burden on them, and I don't want to frustrate them, so I'll just act like I know it now. But then I was like, let's push it a step farther. You know what? Instead of treating me like a 5-year-old, treat me like I'm a 2-year-old.
That is so cute and endearing. And I bet you kind of joked when you said it.
Yeah, too. I would be playful about it, and then they would laugh, and they'd be like, "All right, what did you miss? What is? Give me some." And I was like, "Retell me about this, and this thing doesn't make sense." But I oftentimes didn't even have the ability to acknowledge that out loud because I had exited my body.
Yeah,
I felt so much shame. That I got overwhelmed. Like when I didn't know what someone was saying, I started feeling shame. I'd get overwhelmed. I'd disconnect. And then I'd just turn the head bob up and down like this until it ends. And I'd be like, I don't know anything they said. I went deaf for a few minutes. So that was instrumental in getting back into my body and getting present with it. And then seeing that people didn't treat me like I was garbage.
Yeah. And I think it wasn't just in the construction. Then you actually allowed this to go even into our marriage, which was like, because when you believe I should know how to handle every situation, then you're not open to the moments when you don't know how to handle it. And you can't admit to people you don't know how to handle it. And that's the shame that people have. They feel like they should, like, for me to prove that I'm successful, or for me to prove that I'm a man, or for me to prove, I guess for me to prove that I'm a woman or a good woman or a good wife, then I should just know how to do these things. I should just know what to say. I should know how to handle situations. And that belief keeps you trapped inside and keeps the people around you also trapped.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a huge one, just breaking the I should. I have a friend who is in business and has run huge businesses. And their number one skill set I've seen is they do that exact same thing in boardrooms with CEOs and CFOs. They'll say, explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old. I'm sorry about my ignorance. I just want to make sure that I clearly understand what's happening. And I remember the first few times they did that, I felt relief in my body because I was like, yeah, who in here actually does know what's being said? And so it is a very powerful skill. But if you you've done that even in our marriage, where you'll be like, explain to me why you're saying like this hurt you, but explain to me why it hurt you. Like I don't because I can't understand. And so now it's actually the invitation for me to be seen. Whereas when you are pretending that you know what I'm saying, then I never actually get seen.
Right. And you don't end up feeling like you get the resolve that's needed on the back end, because then I continue operating in ways because I didn't have clarity on what it was. It didn't make sense to my brain. And I continued on, and you're like, why are you still doing this? You're just an asshole. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But you're like, that's confusing. I thought we talked about this. Are you purposely trying to hurt me? And I'm like, I probably didn't get it the first time.
Well, and shame blocks our ability to learn.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when I feel shame, I just like numb out a little bit. So I want to talk about one of the things that helped me the most with shame, which is psychoeducation. And I think that's a hysterical answer. But when I thought, what has helped me overcome, it was when I learned how our brains and our bodies work, that it relieved so much shame over my reactions. So like in the past, I'd be so shameful that, oh, I went into fight energy, or, oh, I went into freeze. I have a lot of people that I work with that they're like, I couldn't say anything in the conflict. I didn't know how to answer any of the questions. And then they just feel like they're a horrible person or they're a failure at communicating. And I'm like, oh no, you were in freeze. The blood flow in your brain came out of your executive function into your amygdala, and your body is now taking over. You don't even have the blood flow in the area that could think logical thoughts in that moment. So when I understand how the body is working to protect you and how it takes over sometimes, I'm not going to say, oh, you're just doomed to live in freeze forever. I'm like, we can find solutions to help you move through that. But of course you went into that. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean you're stupid. That doesn't mean all of the judgments that we attach to it get kind of pulled away when you have psychoeducation. When you're like, oh, my body is designed to protect me from threat. I felt a threat. My body came up with a response. So now when I go into fight energy with you, I'm not like, I'm so bad because I have fight energy, because I'm like, every single human has fight energy. Some people go into it more than others. But every single person has that body response encoded into them in order to help us survive. And the more I started to learn that my reactions were actually physical and not moral decisions.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not deciding I don't want to answer you when I'm in freeze. I'm not blocking you out. You know, for years I thought when you were in freeze, it was a moral decision. You were purposefully locking me out because you were punishing me. Now I know, oh, that's not true. You're not purposefully locking me out.
No.
You are just locked inside in freeze because your body is having that response. Now I know that when I want to start scrolling after a conflict because I feel like I want to get out of my body, I'm like, oh, that's not because I am a morally addicted to social media person. That means, oh, I'm in flight, which is a natural response to happen when I feel threat. And now I have something I can learn to do with it. So actually understanding how our bodies respond to things, you know, because in the past I'd be like, I can't believe I triggered at that. And I'm like, we all trigger for all kinds of reasons, and we're not choosing to trigger. That's not a conscious decision. Like when you say something, I'm not consciously like, I would like to trigger from my past history about this situation now. I'd like something that happened in my childhood to come up because of the thing that you just said. And I would like to then react to you from that place. Like none of that is a moral decision. That is how our body and brain function to try to protect ourselves in the world. And so I'm not even trying to sell this, but literally we made the entire reason we made Reclaiming You, the course, was so that you could understand how your brain and your body function together to try to protect you through the world, and then how to work with it and gain skills and tools so that it's not dominating you into reactions, but you're actually getting to figure out how to respond, and you're getting to move through stuff. The psychoeducation of just understanding how humans work breaks all the shame that you're the one person, that you're bad, that you're just trying to ruin people's lives, that you are the fuck up that's going to destroy everything.
Yeah, well, not only does psychoeducation break shame, but it becomes an invitation to repairing the very thing that's causing the problems. Because the more that you understand, like, okay, I'm actually in a fight response. This is my body. This is my nervous system reacting. What do I need to do to help regulate my nervous system?
So I don't take this out on you.
So I'm not going into fight regularly. And how do I find language to communicate well when that's happening? So like we can use psychoeducation as a justification or as an invitation
Absolutely.
into repair, right? So I think that that's something that I always want to push consistently is like, it's not just about understanding, it's about getting understanding and then becoming empowered to do something about it. Do you have anything more on that? Otherwise I want to jump into...
No, I mean, I just literally, we made a course. It's everything you need to know about you, how you operate as a human, because I think that's the most liberating thing that you can learn in your life. And it helps you understand your partner. I no longer am shaming you for freeze.
Yeah.
Because I know now that it is a physiological response that you didn't choose. And I can see how you're choosing to try to work through it. So I can feel loved by that. Yeah. It's changed our lives.
Yeah, it's really good. I know that for me, my, how do I put it? Like the linchpin that changed everything for me inside of shame and was a catalyst for freedom was me becoming aware of something called the God spot. That's, I call it the God spot. I don't know if other people call it that, but I'll kind of explain this. So the idea is that within the core of us is this place that dictates our identity. This is like, a friend of mine calls it the judgment seat inside of us. But whatever voices are inside of this core place within us, whether it's our spouse, our parents, our job, whatever sits there and says, this is what makes you good or bad, that's what is ultimately our God. So we all have like this thing that like this God spot, and you'll notice it. Like for people, you can tell if somebody or something is in your God spot. Like if your spouse suddenly criticizes you, you have a complete utter meltdown, I probably have them in the God spot. I know that a lot of people have a debilitating experience inside of them if their parents say something along the lines of they're not good kids, like you're not a good child or something like that. All of a sudden people melt down and they're like, oh, I want to appease my parents. I need to keep them appeased. Whatever I need to do to make them happy. I'm like serving this thing, this big thing that is dictating my identity. Okay.
Right. You're looking to something to say, am I good or am I bad?
Correct.
That's what you're describing, that there's a spot in all of us that is looking to an outside thing to tell us, are you good? Am I good or am I bad? And if I put that on a person, then I become enslaved to that person.
Right.
So if I put you in that role, am I good or am I bad? If you ever need to say that I hurt your feelings or that I did something that you didn't appreciate, then that means you're saying I'm bad. Then that means I must be bad. And now I have to feel like a piece of shit because of whatever you say or do.
Yep. And so I had this thought inside of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these critics that have more power over dictating my worth and my identity than I do. And I was like, I have to get them out of this place. They shouldn't be having this much power. Some kid in 6th grade who talks shit about me on a playground, his words all the way back there should not still be deciding whether or not I'm a good person.
Yes.
Right? Like we have very weird scenarios that we hold on to. And so I started looking into that and I was like, I need to get these people out of these places. And I started just like kicking people out one after another. And that looked like me internally being like, Mom and Dad, you don't belong in this place. Like you don't get to dictate whether or not I'm a good son or a good man or a good person. Your approval or disapproval is irrelevant in the truth of who I am as a person. You were one of them. I had to kick you out of my God spot. I was like, Abby, you don't have a right to dictate my value any longer. If you're sad and disappointed in me, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. You're no longer welcome to have this place.
And the reason that mattered so much is because when I was upset, you would then spiral into really deep shame.
Right.
And then the only way to do it was either to tell me that I was bad for feeling upset with you or to hate yourself.
Yeah. And a sure sign of someone or something is in that God spot is if they disapprove of you and it sends you into some sort of spiral.
I I'm going to disagree because I'm like, I think disapproval is a little bit painful in any situation, no matter what.
Yeah, a little bit painful, but I'm talking about a spiral.
I mean, it hurts when I feel disapproved of. It hurts. And it takes me a little bit of time to process out of that. And I don't think that means I have everybody in my God spot.
Well,
but
I'm not saying everyone. I'm just saying that when I get when someone disapproves of me and I have a question of my personal identity, somehow I have another person's voice inside of my God spot.
Where you're saying their voice is now louder about who you are.
It's louder and
voice.
Has more power than my own voice. And so what I had to do was not only get rid of that, but I contemplated, is there a source that's bigger than me? Because I have self-criticism that runs all day long. And even if I say I approve of myself today, tomorrow I may not approve of myself and I might go into a criticism spiral. So I had to reassess, like, is there a God? And if I believe that there's a God, what does that God look like? And I came to terms with there is a creator that has unrelenting love for me, that is in passionate pursuit of my well-being, that is wanting me to come into the truth of who I am, that I was created in and through that love. And as I contemplated that, I started to go, okay, if this is true, then how do I become a mirror reflection of that love to myself? So in that space of that God spot, I started saying, God says that I am a beloved child that was created in and through this perfected love. And so I am going to choose to believe that Justin is a beloved child, and I am going to treat him like that. And I am going to say to Justin, I choose you. I forgive you. You have value and worth in your biggest messes, no matter what it is. And that shift all of a sudden started creating a barricade to other people's voices, because no longer were all these people sitting on the judgment seat. And even I got off the judgment seat. I said, I don't belong here. And I can feel myself when I get back on that judgment seat, where I start like beating up on myself with self-criticism. And I have to be like, I don't belong here. The highest judge is this radically loving creator. What do you say about me in this moment where I feel like I've failed so miserably that it says something about who I am?
Yeah, and I say this is one of the biggest shame antidotes for me as well, because when I just feel like such a mess, and I have been really messy. I've gone through a lot of trauma, and I learned a lot of bad skills as a kid. There's a lot of skills I didn't learn. And so there's a lot of messes that I've made. And the thing that anchors me in that is there is a God who always wants to forgive me, that says he likes me even though I'm a mess, that picks the messiest people and loves to be close to them. Like, to me, that has been an anchor point. I think of like time after time after time. We have a sauna. That's often where I process feelings. And how many times I've just been like, I've felt the weight of that judgment, and I've had to turn and look at God purposefully. And I'm like, even if all these people think I'm this, you like me, you want me, you care about me. And not even because I feel it all the time. Like, I don't always just feel this like ooey gooey feeling of God liking me. But I like, that's the view, the perspective of God I had is unrelenting, unconditional love, a loving God constantly trying to help humanity understand our oneness with him, constantly wanting to awaken us to his love and his forgiveness and his kindness and his mercy and his grace, a God that is quick to give compassion and so merciful and loving and kind. And so I often just focus on that in a way to get, what you're saying is to get out of the judgment seat. And for me, it's like to get out of shame. I have to just see that there is one being who is not hating me, who's not angry at me. And I believe God sees every reason why we do what we do. Like, when you understand psychoeducation, you're like, well, God actually understands fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And so he actually, like, God understands why my body reacted that way. And God understands that I'm trying to fight these reactions and I'm trying to learn this skill. And God saw that I was using everything inside of me that I could to be as healthy as I could, while also the situation being painful.
And not only that, but God also sees the fullness of our story.
Yes.
So there is someone that understands the complexities of our humanity from beginning to end and understands, yeah, of course, Justin is acting like this. These behaviors he experienced happening to him in his childhood, and that would make him do X, Y, and Z naturally in order to self-protect. And so it's like this person says, yeah, kiddo, I have more clarity about you than you have about you.
Which is why he's a better judge than us, because he sees the full story.
And sees how much love we really were given, right? Like a lot of times we don't see that someone may have been given 2 pennies of love.
Yeah. And they're using all 2 pennies.
All 2 pennies.
In a conversation where they're just not beating you up.
Right. And that is their max capacity from the broken experience that they've been given. He's like, but I see you gave your all inside of this situation. And though it was still painful, like there's moments where I've given my all and it's created a lot of pain in the relationship.
Totally.
And I know that God's like, but kiddo, I know
see your intentions.
I see your intentions. I see how hard you're fighting for love. And even though it fell really short and you're going to have to go clean that mess up, I completely forgive you. Let's walk this out together.
Yeah, I think that's brought me so much comfort. I think about the fact that God knows our epigenetics. So they've proven that we have trauma that can be passed down through our just blood, through our generational lines. It's wild science on that. So there's things that I might react to in life that I'm not even aware why I'm reacting to it, but God would be aware because he sees my generational lines. Then he sees my childhood and all of the lack and all of the hurt and all of the pain. And then he sees all of the trauma that I've been through. And so when I have a response that I judge as stupid or I judge as failure, or I judge as whatever, he actually can see all of the dominoes leading up to that moment, and he understands our reaction so much better than us. And that is the safest person to have be closest to you.
Yeah.
Is somebody who has the most understanding, who sees you the most, and who still believes in you and wants to love you.
It's so good. This has been a good episode. I liked it.
I have one last thing. I know we got to end.
What, you do?
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it. I'm not going to allow it.
I'm not going to allow it. Okay, my last thing that really helped me overcome shame is actually just starting to call shame out.
Yeah.
And tell somebody else about it. So, like, let's say in our relationship, this has happened a lot, where I'll have a revelation of something that I've done that has contributed to our issues. Something that I have added.
Just a little bit, of course, not a lot.
Not a lot, but like a little bit. And I'll feel shame about it, and I won't want to admit it. So I will go to Pete, who is equally messed up as me, who has gone through life and who understands how hard it is to be human. And I'll say, man, I'm really recognizing that I want to control Justin sometimes when I feel out of control, something like that.
Say it again for the people in the back.
And so I'll say the very human thing, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, me too. And we'll just go back and forth in the different ways that we've done that throughout our lives. And it feels so liberating to be able to just own it. And oftentimes I have to own it with other people in my life before I can own it with you.
Yeah.
Because I need to build that shame resilience, because I feel ashamed still. And speaking things that we've done out and then seeing other people meet us with love is one of the ways we build shame resilience. And so I've cultivated several friendships where we can be utterly honest, and we know, like, oh yeah, that's human. I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done that. Oh, that makes so much sense. I haven't done that, but it makes sense because I do this thing when I feel that feeling, and you do that. And those are both logical responses. You know, like just having somebody be like, oh, I love you, girl. I know marriage is hard. Being a human is hard. Trying to navigate all of our pain is hard. Like just those feelings of I am not alone, and I've exposed the thing I think is unlovable to someone, and they met me with love, which then gives me more courage to expose it to you, because it's so high stakes when I share things with you. Not because you're high stakes, but because you're my primary attachment.
Yeah.
And so that's really helped. In all of our courses that we do, we end every session with what is something you can take ownership for, and what is a moment that you connected to something safe. But the reason we do that in every course, people are typing in, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. Like we're talking about like, oh, who here has reacted out of shame? And we have all these people being like, I've reacted out of shame. When I have shame, I yell at my spouse. When I have shame, I ignore that we have any problems. When I have shame, and you just have everybody is sharing how they do the very human thing. And then they're seeing everyone else is sharing it. So you have that common humanity we talked about before, and you have that practice of ownership, the practice of saying, I did this. And this is one of the reasons I think addicts can become some of the most evolved people as they heal on the planet. I think about AA and the 12 steps, and there's a lot of people that I really respect who've grown through that. And oftentimes it's because they have to go make amends.
Yeah.
And what is making amends? It's saying, I did this. I'm sorry. And the practice of taking ownership is one of the things that breaks shame. The practice of being honest, the practice of saying, like, one of the most liberating things for both of us is when we have said, you know what? I've really denied your reality sometimes. I really haven't seen you in this area. I've really been aggressive in this area. I've really been stubborn in this area. Anytime we actually own that, we are building shame resilience.
Right. And again, to wrap this up, so I'm going to wrap it up.
Yes.
In doing that, it built connection. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of having this conversation around shame, is that you're restoring connection as you're facing the shame and acknowledging it. And that's what we ultimately want to do, is take this thing that's been a barrier between people having their love be really felt, their care be felt. Like there's so much love, care that people are like handing out, but then we don't feel it because of these moments of shame that interrupt and build these divides between people. And we want to crush these divides. So
one thing I want to say is we have a whole series called The Compassion Project, and it is literally anti-shame. Everything about it is shame resilience. It's learning how to have compassion on yourself and how to connect to compassion from God and how to have compassion for others. It's understanding your needs and why you interact that way. So you can go to justinandabby.com for The Compassion Project. We also have Reclaiming You, which is everything about how you operate and why you react the way that you do from a body, brain, science-based approach, and then what to do so that you can be in charge of your life and heal, not get trapped in it. And so both of those, and then we have Relationship Glue, which is how to do communication as well. Some of you are out there and you're like, okay, now that I have, like, now I'm facing my shame by listening to this episode, I'm realizing I do need some conflict skills. We have a course that can give you some conflict skills. And that's how I learned. I went through so much learning and training and testing and trying to learn new skills. And so don't have shame about it. Get a counselor if you need skills, or listen to podcasts if you need skills, or read books, or do our courses.
do you ever feel like you have shame about the idea that your hands are like an independent, like human that like run around here all the time, and then they smack the microphone all the time, and it's like they have their own life of their own, and you're like, I don't know how they're mostly pulling your arm, pulling you around.
When I used to speak, sometimes we'd just mute the session and you would just see this is like when I spoke on stages, because I used to travel and speak everywhere. I literally just, my hands were like the whole show. You didn't even have to hear words.
You're saying you would hit mute, rewatching it back, and just watch your hands tell the story.
It was insane.
They're so funny.
Wild.
Okay, well, I'm done talking to you.
I just want to say I'm really proud of us.
I am too.
This is an area that we've grown in a lot.
It really is.
And I think we take more ownership and have more humility because of it.
We've learned how to face ourselves in a massive way. Man, you can't keep facing yourself if shame's running the show. So.
Yeah. So send this.
Kudos to us.
Send this to the people that you think have too much shame in their life.
Yeah. But don't,
I'm just kidding.
But don't tell them that's why you're sending it to them. Just let them listen all the way to the end.
No, send this to people. I think that
this is a good conversation starter.
Yeah.
To just be like, hey, I want you to listen to this because I want to be able to tackle this in my life, and I want someone else I can talk to about it.
Yeah, I have so much shame, and I want to start having shame resilience. And so if we understood each other and had this language, then I could start telling you about my shame so that we could have we could start breaking it.
Yep. Go to youtube.com if you want.
Yeah,
look up
come
the Connected
see
Life
us.
podcast. You can go ahead over there and subscribe and hit the bell button
Ding.
to get some notifications. And then if you really aren't into video, you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe, and share. We'll put it that way. Go give us a rating, a review. It's a big deal for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do that. Do that now, or
We'll shame you.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Cone of shame corner. Bye now.
Bye.